I think the music might have done something, but I hope it didn't stop recording till I noticed it stopped recording. But I'm so used to dealing with other people to schedule an interview with a performer or whatever. So I was like, who do I talk to? At So Def, and he was like, I own the company, and I was like, complete cognitive dissonance. I'm at a total loss. I said, oh, okay. Excuse me, or something. I excused myself because I did not know how to process that. You know, he's a performer, but he owns the company. The record label is his. And I'm Christian. I was like raised Christian. I wasn't Muslim yet. So I blame everything on that. Christianity makes your brain doesn't work. It's dead. But knowing what I know now, and it seems so obvious, but nobody I was with, it was like, just go interview him now. He owns the company. You can talk to him. You don't have to talk to nobody else. He owns the label. It's him. But back then, I probably just left, just completely befuddled, mind turned to cottage cheese, just so like, what do I do now? Cognitive dissonance. It's not my fault, it's the white man's fault for making me dead to all type of common sense knowledge. So yeah, I missed that interview, but it's just astounding the level of control that black people took over our creativity. So I haven't really got into the book yet. I just read the introduction and the foreword, or probably the chapters, but it looks like it's going to be really, really good. So this is not something I usually do. I usually don't even let people know what I'm reading until after I'm finished reading it. But I think it's gonna be fun to go back to that time because the '90s, oh my god, it was just so incredibly historical. And to have been such a part of it, I feel so extremely blessed to have been so in it, you know. I'm so extremely blessed. So Jermaine Dupri, if you see this, thank you for writing a book, for documenting and keeping a record and sharing it with the rest of the world of your story. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think it's invaluable for our youth to be able to see, especially considering the role that you play, because you're a performer, but you revolutionized the recording industry and made the producer, because like regular people didn't know what a producer was. It's the not just the person making the music, but also the person who brings the vocals and the music and puts it together and makes it sound so good. And that's integral part of music. As a musician, vocalist myself, the regular listener, average listener, will not be able to comprehend the importance of the music to the song. The music is actually what makes or break a record. Macy Gray, that's my example. It's sometimes like you, Diddy, Dre, like the hip hop producer, and you put R&B because it's kind of like hip hop music with people singing to it is what R&B turned into. And without you, we wouldn't have had so much fun in the 90s. So, yes, thank you. Shout out to Atlanta, ATL. Do my A-Town has two dances. This one, the Bankhead Bounce, and I was able to kind of stay in Atlanta for a while. It was after the 90s when it was crack and Freaknik and all that underground Atlanta, and it was like I feel bad just saying that word. I'm Muslim now, but I could see how it used to be when I went out there in like 2015 or 16, somewhere when I was traveling in the South. I went to Atlanta, and man, that was the first place somebody called me Shouty. And I didn't go to jail in Atlanta. And black people in the South are so unbelievably cool. The ratio of black people to white people is the only thing that I can attest it to being the reason, because it's like 75% black people and 15% white people. White, they still got chains on their brains, but it's like the white people have an understanding, and the way that the black people approach their job was like I've never seen in my life. I saw this one lady outside on the phone. She on the clock, but her work is done. You know what I mean? They can't really say nothing. It's not like that in a lot of places. People get in trouble if they don't look like they're working. But she was like, everything's clean. I did my job. You can't say nothing to me about my job. So I'm doing what I want to do. My work is done. Kind of probably like a salary type thing. I don't know what that's like. I never had a job that paid a salary, but yeah, I really, really liked Atlanta. SWATs and 5 Points and Collar Park. I was there for a minute, but the masjid was unreceptive to me. They didn't like me because I'm in the nation and they're Sunnis, but I still love y'all. As long as you say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, whatever problem you got with me is on you. But yeah, I'm gonna get into this book, and probably you gonna read it with me because I'm gonna be posting, whatever I'm reading. It always incites me to do more research. I looked up Brandy performance in Chicago, and I'm so not ready to see Brandy playing a role like that. I don't like it, but perhaps after she reads Message to the Black Man, she'll change a little bit. Oh, and I got another thing I want to look up, so I'm gonna go, and I'm probably gonna post it. It's Brandy came up on my timeline real quick. Her performing with her father in church. She got a choir role. I think that's so dope because I never was in like the adult choir at church. This something I still want to do. I kind of did it when I was on Skid Row, part of the vocal ensemble, but the person in charge, we're non-denominational, even though they're singing like the Hallelujah chorus and things like that, performance. Most operatic stuff is Christian, spiritual. It's always at a church, but not all of it. Some of it is other topics, but everything we were doing, and the thing that really, really made me leave was, and it was so frustrating because there's so much talent on Skid Row. I heard the best music ever on Skid Row. It's nothing but starving artists, and even if they're not performing, they playing some bomb music on the radio. That's what gets you through the music, just that's how I cope with being homeless, but Skid Row is a whole nother, but the music, phenomenal. So I managed to meet and talk to the right people who got me in, because the music business is not about your talent. Most of the people I like are unheard of. The general public doesn't know. But I got into the Skid Row choir. And a lot of people like that. We have the Skid Row choir here performing with the Los Angeles Philharmonic, that type of thing. Or famous entertainer wants the publicity, so they're on Skid Row feeding the homeless, and the Skid Row choir is going to be singing, while he feeds the homeless. Stuff like that. But the person in charge told me it's not denominational, but yet we are meditating before each rehearsal. And I got a problem with that anyway, because I don't want nobody telling me what to think, especially when I'm in like a state where I'm, vulnerable. My brain is very vulnerable when your eyes are closed, it's quiet, you're completely internalizing everything that's going on. You're in your own little thing, and he's telling you, okay, now think about this. And no, I don't want you to have that type of control over me. Just so I can be like, I have to lose my individuality to be a part of your choir. And that's the only thing I got, I can't do that. It was difficult enough when I joined the Nation of Islam. I have to wear the exact same thing as all the other sisters. I had a huge problem with that. I'm like designing my own garment and the accessories. That's the only place you can show your individuality is your shoes, your purse, your jewelry. That's it. Everything else is exactly the same. You're supposed to be the same size, which is beautiful because no one's overweight, and you learn how to walk the same, or you learn how to walk, it's just awesome once you submit to Allah. It's the only way you can get peace of mind and contentment. So, that's when I got out of that choir. But Brandy talks about, he just in the introduction, and as far as him finding people and developing their talent and finding the right song and the right instrumentation and production and everything, the look, the style, how they act in public with the press and things like that. He shaped, Crisscross was his first group, and that's, I can see that because they're children, it's seemed pretty simple. Their children are like, okay, very willing and open, and but energetic and exciting and all that, and then he went on Brad, Bow Wow, J.E., and he worked with other artists, Mariah's like biggest hit, We Belong Together. I think she has another one that I sent to my son. You'll always be a part of me. Are you not me? Save me. You always be my baby. And Janet Jackson, all these people, whenever a producer is hot, everybody wants to work with them. Brandy said she came up with, she and her producer came up with a style of music that revolutionized the music. They worked really hard at it, and then she had to go through watching that producer take her sound and apply it to all these other artists, and they making hits. And she mentioned that Michael Jackson was in the studio while she was in the studio. She was in a different studio. Her producer, and for some reason, I didn't like him at the time, and I still really don't like him. And she's just so sweet, forgiving and everything like that. I'm not. When they were working together and he was hot, I didn't like him. I don't know why. I just didn't. I still don't know, but I see what he did to her, because no one gives her the recognition that she deserves. That Full Moon album and What About Us, and that the Full Moon sound is hers, and after she went on and that album was such a huge success, the producer, Mariah Carey's song, J-Lo, her song, it sounds like Brandy singing background on the song, and I remember hearing it years and years ago, and I was like, that sounds like Brandy in the background, and it most likely is. She didn't mention it in her book, but she mentioned that she's singing background on Michael's song, and Michael's singing background on her song, like just some regular album filler that wasn't hits, but they singing background. She said she passed out when she met Michael Jackson. It was crazy. She like literally on the floor passed out, and he was like, this has happened before, Ray J was there, and the producer was like, this has happened before, and then she got up, after her brother's like, get up, you're embarrassing me. So, right. And then after it was over, she said Michael laughed and thought it was funny and all that. He giggling and whatever. But just the fact that J-Lo song, and I'm drawing a complete blank, but her first song, and I just listened to it. I don't know if I listened to it, but I went and looked at the photographs and whatever. But because the way she pronounces the word, it's like, if you had my love and I gave you all my trust, would you comfort me, or something like that. And the way she says trust is like Whitney. He probably worked with her. Yeah, probably because I looked it up. A song I always like, and it's sad because it's a problematic love song. For a while, I was like on strike against problematic love songs. Don't listen to them. But the Take Me Back songs are the most beautiful songs in the world, in my opinion. It's like, I'm really, really sorry. I'm going to put out this song that you can't resist. Aretha's I'm only one step ahead of heartbreak is like my answer to all those beautiful Take Me Back songs. She's like, I'm only one step ahead of heartbreak. And then, but she ends up, she's Christian. she never became a Muslim. But the wordplay in that song, I'm not gonna go to it because I got all kind of issues with that song. But go there. She the distraction, but the production is so important. And I learned after, like, when I was homeless for a while, I was like really into music, like singing. I'm singing everywhere. All kind of karaoke. I'm there. You got karaoke. I'm there. I'm singing. I used to sing Misty. That was like my song until somebody told me that this other brother in Lamert, that was his song, and I was like, oh man. So I ended up stopped singing completely. I'm like that, but before I stopped, I got bored with karaoke, the recorded music. I was like, it's not fun. It lost all its appeal. So I started going to the World Stage Workshop on Saturdays. And one day I was there and they had decided on a song, and the teacher, I think it was still Latif, it could have been Bobby, and the people who wanted to do a solo, they would sign up. I want to do a solo. I want to do a solo. And I said, okay, I'm going to sign up. I want to do a solo too. This is groundbreaking. I'm a vocalist. Never been done before. Usually the vocalists have to make arrangements with the teacher so that after they finish the workshop, if the participants want to accompany you, then yeah, I didn't know that at the time. I still trying to get a better understanding and appreciation for musicians, because like music industry, and I've seen it. Skid Row, that was the only time I had someone actually walk me in, because that's how it's supposed to be. You can't just come, who are you, and I'm known in Lamert, but not as like on a mic. Not really. I did a little bit spoken word or whatever at the open mic, but open mic with hip hop and spoken word is not the same as singing. You got to have a little bit more talent to carry a tune, and especially when you got musicians. So I think the first time I did, I was singing like one time with Rose Gales, who was Larry Gale's wife, is Larry Gale's wife. It was really awkward because I known her from when I was in high school. So embarrassing. She remembered me, and the song she chose to play was I Remember You. And musicians are like that. I didn't even get it until weeks later that she chose that song for me to sing. And then she's like, oh, the beginning, because a lot of those songs have like a preamble. There's the saying, oh, it says that love is blind. And like the beat, of the tom, just a little introductory part before night and day. It gets into the song. So she said, oh, the beginning, because a lot of times people just go into the song. So anyway, I went through that, and there was a white guy, and the World Stage, as much as I love it, I feel like it's white people or non-black people at the heart of it, like at the root of it. All you see are black performers, black audience, but as far as funding, keeping the doors open, there's white people. They probably own it, and my understanding is they moved again. They're actually on Crenshaw now, which to me is really heartbreaking because it used to be such a little intimate, private, like family type thing. Like the House of Blues is like a home. Every month at the Root show, you're gonna see the same people. It's like I don't know. It's difficult to describe, but it looks like a house now. White House on the corner of Sunset and whatever street that is between Highland and La Brea on the south side. I don't think you can miss it unless it looks different. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but I can't believe it's been 30 years since I graduated college. So, I started performing with actual musicians, and it's if the musicians don't like you, the audience is not gonna understand why the music sounds so bad. Because they just know, oh yeah, she can sing. All they see is a vocalist. A lot of people don't take an interest in who's providing the music for the vocalist. It doesn't matter who it is. But nowadays, musicians understand that most people don't want to hear an instrumental. They want to hear the some lyrics or somebody's voice. They bored or don't like instrumentals. Me, I'm happy. I don't want to. I don't need to sing. Sometimes, like one time they started playing Cherokee, and that was another song that I used to sing. And the music was so good. Next thing I know, I'm up on the stage, and I'm like, "How did I get up here?" And I'm trying to sing, but the guy is on the saxophone. He's like, "No, you're not singing. I'm playing the saxophone." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but the music just was like, "Go up there and sing." And next, I'm on the stage, like at the microphone, and he's like, and I was like, "Okay." I think I might have got to sing a little tiny bit, but the musicians, you're only as good as they want you to be. That's all there is to it. So yeah, check out those books. If you're like serious about music, practice, 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 practice nonstop. Brandy mentioned that your vocal cords are muscles. So just like any other muscle, you train it. You have to use it, train it, endurance. That will help you get better. You play an instrument, your fingers have to be able to play without you conscious of it. They always say you're overthinking it. Don't overthinking it, especially jazz. It's improv, so you gotta just go with what you feel. Practice over and over and over, and then you're gonna hear things, and you have to be able to interpret it and put it from your brain into the instrument. And that only comes with practice. If you're trying to read music, you're not gonna get it. And I know a secret. I'm not gonna tell, because I have a little musician in me too, and there are a lot of secrets. If you read Louis Armstrong's autobiography, I read it twice, and he got all kind of inside stuff in that book. That he was the probably first black musician to write an autobiography. It's astounding. I highly recommend it. I can't remember what it's called at the moment, but it's very, very good. Highly recommend it. So yeah, I'm getting into more contemporary musical artists now. I have been reading old jazz musicians, Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight, R&B musicians, and I always see like people I really don't want to read, like Jay Z. They were trying to get me to read him. Will Smith. During the Corona, everybody was writing. That's probably when I started. But I read RZA book, and then I read Dwayne. I think his name is Dwayne Hopkins, and Richard, I believe, wrote a book, which is so weird for me because I used to have really close connections with Loud, and Orlando was like, Raekwon likes you. I was like, why him? A chubby one. But if I knew then what I knew now, I probably would have talked to him. But back then, I was like, I only like cute guys, and you gotta be tall, dark, and handsome. And the guys that like me, I didn't pay any attention to, which is the most foolish thing any girl could possibly do. Remember, you little, hey girl, I like you. Word? Now, but back then I'd be like, run. But he likes you. You can't do any better than that. The guy you like, he likes somebody else. He don't play you. Have you thinking he with you, but when he not with you, he with who he likes. The one he said, girl, I like you. And she was smart enough to say, okay, let me let you appreciate me letting you like me. I'm going to be with you, because you like me. And it was any girls in that, that's the best way. I had a little taste of it. It was unbelievable. All my life, I've been like the aggressive one, but I became a Muslim, and like the closest thing I got to when I was younger was, come here, and I'd be like, meet me halfway. And I think that's another one of those things that I accidentally started because they have a song in New Orleans, me halfway. That's the song now. But I think I started that like in junior high. At the we used to take a field trip. All the schools go to the museum, science and industry, natural history. They have all these museums together, and all the schools used to go on the same day. You get a sack lunch or whatever. So all the guys trying to talk to the girls. And I remember this guy across with his homies. I'm over here with my homies. Make eye contact. He's like, come here. And I was like, meet me halfway. So then we go halfway. We both leave our, respective crews or whatever. But I'm proving because another thing I started was in the 4th grade. I'm new at the school, and this guy in the back of the class, because it was in alphabetical order. I'm in the front. He way in the back. So he passes a note. I think somebody read it and then passed it because I'm new. Remember, they don't know each other. I'm new. So some girl, we end up being really good friends later, opens it and hands it to me. It says, I like you. Okay, a lot of guys forget that on your do you like me, yes or no paper. You got to put I like you first. So that's what my note said. I like you. Do you like me? Yes. No, with a little check mark. So I wrote maybe and check that and then send it back. Now that I think that's part of the note now. But you have to put I like you first. Okay, guys. And to me, that's a much better way than just walking up to a girl and trying to talk to her. I'll be like, ah, and run. How dare you just approach me and I don't know you? No, you can't take that type of liberty with me. That's extremely disrespectful. You don't know me. You cannot just walk up and get in my space and think you can speak to me like that. No, that's the height of disrespect. No, you don't do that. Have someone that I know and introduce me. Otherwise, your intentions are wrong, and I can see that already. You're quick. You're too fast. You're not putting in enough effort. That's how I know you're not serious. You just want to take advantage of me and get whatever you can real quick and then leave. If your intentions are pure, you would put in a little more effort. You just want something to do. You think I'm cute, so you want me on your arm for a little while until you get bored or whatever. But any girl that goes for that doesn't have knowledge of self. I saw at Brandy's book, the way that she didn't wait until she was married, till this guy was committed to her. She went through 3 failed relationship attempts. And when she got to the 3rd one, that's when I had to stop reading and I wrote her. But no, it's not right. You cannot just approach somebody like that. A female that's decent and has self-respect is frightening to someone like that. A perfect stranger? You don't remember Don't Talk to Strangers? I do not talk to strangers. If I'm promoting my website, I'll just hand you a sticker. Be like, go to my website, read this book. Assalamu alaikum, But my views are so foreign, I think, to a lot of people. But when you become a Muslim, it teaches you knowledge of self, and you don't tolerate Christian behavior. So, brothers, if you are interested in a sister, first you have to be ready to marry her. You have to be financially, mentally, emotionally, connectionally. Your family has to be ready for you to bring this other person into your life. You have to have all these checks. Can you support a wife? Can you support children? To me, that's like, if you're lucky, just try to make her happy. Don't worry about nothing else. Meaning you may never consummate your marriage. Just be friends for the rest of your life. Okay? Don't complicate it. That, can you take care of her? Can you maintain her happiness? That's your only goal in life. You want to keep her happy so she can keep you happy for the rest of your life. Okay? That's it. Don't complicate it. You have to be financially ready. You have to be emotionally ready, because that's a big step, So, some men, when they get to that point, they put out the word, I'm looking for a wife. Oh, really? I got a little cousin or something like that, who I think would make you a good wife. And then they introduce you to this female. You don't just go out. And if you do see someone that you think, you observe her, before you even attempt to see how her brain works, just watch her movements, her actions, how she carries herself among other people. If you actually see somebody out like that, it's better to go through people and see who they know so they can properly introduce you to somebody. And then you have someone you could go to later on down the line if there's an issue or something, because this person knows both of you before you know each other. So you have that to help resolve issues if they come up, you know what I mean? Which is just like invaluable to the maintenance of your future. So yeah, you gotta go about the wrong way. Do not ever try to pick somebody up off the street. I see that on my timeline on Facebook. People just go up to somebody, don't know nothing about this person. I just did a what's up about a neighbor, which is different because the person lives there. But if you just see somebody walking down the street, oh, she fine, I'm gonna try to get her number. And then you try to build something off of that, your chances of success are very slim. In the long term, but I don't know what your motives are. Is you qualified, you looking for a wife, it doesn't seem like you would find her like that. you know, it's possible. I've seen a lot of stories. Black people are highly, extremely resilient. We make it do what it do in spite of our story with the slave master, who just wants to keep us apart and take our children and, all that. But read message to the black man, okay? Before you do anything. Because I'm thinking I could give a class, but if you're not a Muslim, it's a waste of my time. So just read message to the black man, take it from there. Don't look for a teacher other than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Very few people want to actually sit down and read. They rather go hear someone. The word is motivational speaker. That's what imams and ministers and preachers, except the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they just motivational speakers, get you to come back and bring your little nickels or whatever. And maybe not all of them, but sometimes that's all I get out of it. The khutbah is beautiful. I'm still looking for one. I really prefer a black masjid, but Allah is sufficient. So need to make Maghrib. Alhamdulillah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Wahid.